Greetings from Thailand. I'm Chayathorn. Today I'll be sharing my GMAT journey with Target Test Prep or TTP. So my GMAT journey started off when I graduated from one of the top business schools in Thailand with my bachelor degrees in business administration. For others, I believe their dream may have just started, but for myself, I've been living in my dream for 20 years. I really enjoy studying and it has just ended. So I would like to extend my dream and decided to further pursue my master degrees in finance to further specialize my concentration. And that's where my GMAT journey began. Last August of 2024, I started browsing online to get familiar with what is the GMAT exam and ended up discouraged by the overwhelming information and tasks to be scheduled for each day. In fact, I have researched once when I was still in my third year, hoping that I could study ahead. But because of that research, I decided to postpone it to my future self, which is my present self now. But this time, it's not the same. I found Target Test Prep and decided to try the diagnostic test as well as the free trial for a week. Guess what? I ended up falling in love with the TTP prep course. Particularly, I would like to highlight TTP's flexible and modular curriculum and its scheduling feature. Firstly, the TTP curriculum. It's extremely well structured and effective. Each topic, whether it be the constituents of quant, verbals, or data insight section, is broken down into each subunit called the must-know points, kind of like a checkpoint where you should be sure you understand this before proceeding to the next session. This way, I can be sure that I build my understanding block by block and further apply within and across each topic rather than just arbitrarily throwing myself into each chunk of topic and figure it out myself. Together with the modularity, the scheduling features ensure that I will be able to fit my availability with the GMAT preparation, which can then be categorized as first, the study phase, and second, the exam practice phase. As I mentioned, I was overwhelmed by the GMAT exam at the beginnings of my preparation, but TTP did everything for me. By simply putting my availability each day in hours and my expected exam date, TTP broke down their flexible curriculum into daily manageable tasks for me. Over time, I found that I've been solving each question more systematically, which I believe is aligned with the goals of the exam, which is to test my logical flow via the language of English and math. This could be mainly attributable to how TTP assists me on building each must-know point and understanding each part would eventually bring me to mastering the whole. Nonetheless, my GMAT journey was not always filled with excitement to learn. There were times where I was less motivated and distracted by other priorities. But thanks to the daily motivational quotes and video tips that help keep my discipline going, I still recall that there was a video tip mentioning that your passion each day could be volatile, and therefore you must nourish your discipline instead. So this translated to me habitualizing my GMAT daily study to the point that one day I realized that if I have not completed this, I would feel frustrated for the entire day without any reasons. In other words, I believe the aforementioned features of the course prep were on purpose and extremely impactful. And day after days of preparations, I finally reached my exam practice phase during the Christmas season though. So I decided to practice through the official GMAT practice exams and as usual advised by the TTP. I found official practice exams most beneficial after I had built a strong foundation as they helped reinforce my test day readiness. Anyway, when doing the practice exams, my best takeaway is to be honest to yourself. Be honest to yourself. To put it another way, you have to conduct the exam with the same condition you expect to undergo on the real exam day. So this includes taking the exam in one setting in a quiet atmosphere, as well as having similar equipment, such as laminated scratch pads and pens if possible. Fun fact again, I could not find laminated scratch pads in my vicinity, so I decided to use A4 whiteboards instead, which are kind of interchangeable for me. After I had completed each practice exam, I would then diagnose my strengths and weaknesses and go back to each pertinent must-know point. And the D-Day has come, finally. I took my first GMAT exam, but unfortunately not the last one in January 2025. My score was 665, which was astonishingly good. Nevertheless, my guts told me that I could improve my score. And this way, this was just my first GMAT. so I should give it another try. Coincidentally, the video tip on my TTP course was about waiting to take the second exam. So during the GMAT waiting period of 16 days subsequently, I followed the video tips about learning from my first exam potential mistakes. Finally, I took my second GMAT exam and got 695. Here comes my last part of this review. Although there's plenty of advice I recall from my GMAT journey, these are the most crucial ones I would like to share with everyone. First, based on my opinion, do not perceive the GMAT exam as an English or math test. Instead, take it as an evaluation of your logical flows of languages called English and math. With this in mind, you should then master each constituent that is fabricated into English and math. For math, you must approach each concept differently based on their nature. Some work well with tables, some work well with equations, and some simply work well with trial and errors, just trying putting on numbers and you get the answer, something like that. For English, you must understand what forms an argument, primarily the premise and the conclusion. And this brings us to my second advice for the verbal section, which is to treat every opportunity as your questions. In other words, for the question stems, always ask yourself first, what is the conclusion and whether there are any premises. Usually there are at least one premises in each question stems. And secondly, treat every action choice as your question as well. Something like why this choice is correct and why this choice is incorrect. By this way, I think you can quadruple your question banks. And finally, I could not emphasize this more, but to trust in the process and be consistent with your practice. I trust in the TTP schedule. I study for more than 4 months, 2 to 3 hours a day. I prioritized my studying and put it first on my agenda each day. I habitualize my studying habits, but if I miss a day, I feel frustrated in the entire day. And I achieved a GMAT score of 695. So to summarize, first, you need to understand what the GMAT is testing you on. And second, use every opportunity to hone your logical skills. And lastly, consistency is the key. With the right mindset, approach, and consistency, your dream GMAT score is achievable. Thank you.